Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. It's time to let go of negative thinking, understand why you do what you do and stop the self-sabotage with your host, Fran Excel.
Welcome to the show. As always, it's Fran Excel, your resident subconscious success mentor, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way and live a life that you love. If you want to stop self-sabotaging your own success and let go of the stress, then you are in the right place, my friend. Make sure you download your free Stressed to Success guided meditation at bit.ly/stress to success as my little gift to you just for being here. Please do subscribe, share and review. It really, really helps people that need to hear this message find us, and I so appreciate it. In the show notes, you'll also find details of how you can work with me and where you can get your mitts on my meditations, products, printables, programs. You can find it through the link in my bio on Instagram, which is my favorite place to hang out. So please do come join me over there at I'm Fran Excel. Tag me in your takeaways, slide into my DMs. I'm here for it. So that's the formalities over, my love. So let's jump to the content. This episode is a little bit of a follow-on from last week's episode about the identity death and rebirth process of change. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, I suggest you start there. When we're talking about any kinds of changes and identity shifts in any way, we need to learn to let things go, which is a really, really helpful skill in every area of your life. We need to learn to be in these moments of uncertainty and essentially learn to surrender to the process, right? So this is all about the art of surrender. This is something it took me a while to truly learn. And it's something where I catch myself in a lot of the time, and I have like this little smile to myself when I realise that this is where I'm at, right? I'm an enneagram 6, so naturally I'm quite the planner. I've always liked to look at all potential outcomes with a tendency to veer towards the worst case scenario and a hell of a lot of overthinking. So this, the art of surrender, is a valuable skill to learn because all of that's no fun. Right? You spend most of your time in your own head. It makes everything feel harder, like you're swimming against the tide or pushing water uphill. And it just doesn't need to. It's recognizing that trying to control everything is a protection mechanism. It feels safer to your nervous system, but there's a lot more mental suffering involved than there needs to be. It's about literally stopping fighting with yourself and fighting with the process, learning to handle all the things that can make it more difficult. So we're talking about releasing the need for control here. It's about allowing, not controlling or forcing. You know, because I always say, what's the definition of pushing? Something getting further away, right? So if you're trying to push or force a situation, it's just going to get further away from you and feel harder and harder. Like even when you say all of those, not controlling, forcing, pushing versus allowing, which feels easier and more enjoyable? Like how many times have you suffered in your own head about a potential or worst case scenario and the reality was actually far better? That has its merits at times, for sure. And it is certainly where I've spent most of my life. But what if you can have the same outcome without the suffering in your own head first? That'd be better, right? So it's learning to trust that whatever the outcome, you will be okay. This is something I really, really live by. I actually have everything happens for a reason tattooed on me in Latin, and many people cringe at that phrase, and I get it. I totally get it. But for me, it runs a little bit deeper. It really is a bit of a life philosophy, and my interpretation of it really is part of the reason of how I've learned to surrender. It's not my natural state, like I said. It's not my natural state of being by any stretch of the imagination, but my solid belief is that whatever happens to me, or for me, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, no matter how awful it feels at the time, I completely trust that something good will eventually come from it. Completely trust that, even if it takes time. I know in my bones that eventually I will be looking back and saying, oh, well, that was awful. But if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't be who and where I am now. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have that. It's a solid belief system for me. And I got there by looking at the evidence across my whole life. It's always been true. Even the darkest of things has had a really positive outcome or lesson that I'm grateful for eventually. And when you have that, you don't feel the need to control as much and do the all-important process of not having an attachment to the outcome. It's hugely freeing. It's another reason why I call it growing pains, right? It doesn't stop it being painful at the time. All change is a little bit painful, right? Like I said last week, we're fighting against our unconscious programming and our nervous system's idea of what is safe, our ego's idea of what is safe. So it's going to be uncomfortable, But there are a few other things you can do to lean into the art of surrender. Firstly, you really have to know what it is that you're working towards or moving away from. Knowing what that looks like, and at the same time being open to it being a bit different, better even. Like, how many times have you heard someone say, it's even better than I could have imagined? Be open to a few potential nice surprises along the way. Like this or something better vibes. Staying open, staying curious, but really, really making sure that you're focusing on what you're working towards, not that you're still in the thing that you're moving away from, right? Very important. Be open to those potential surprises, like they are gold dust. The next thing is deal in truth, not story. I'm always saying this. Figure out what the story is lying underneath the truth, right? What are your biggest fears around you not controlling the outcome? What would you do if those things actually happened? Like, where could it lead? Question everything. Is that really true? I think this thing, like, is that actually true? Is that mine or is it someone else's? What else could be true? What is another possible outcome? Yeah. And remember that momentum can be quick. Things can feel like you're totally stuck and things are never going to change. And I've certainly had that feeling over the last 12 months in my situation. Then the next minute, your entire life is different and everything is clicked into place. So try not to focus on the negatives of where you're at right now. As long as you are taking action, you are moving forwards. And if you're needing to let go of a part of yourself, like I spoke about in the previous episode, or something or someone in your life, recognize that it's not a failure. What are you attaching to that loss? Things change, people change, circumstances change. Let go of what you know in your heart isn't good or right for you anymore. What's more painful when you really think about it? The pain of staying where you are or the pain of letting go? Only you can decide that. There's no judgment to be made either way, but it is a choice that you get to make. Educate yourself and understand the inevitable parts of the process. That's a huge one. So come to podcasts like mine or somebody else's, whoever resonates with you, whether you want to go even deeper into the science behind it, or whether you just want the base level understanding of how our nervous system works. Like, that stuff is gold. Is gold. It really, really is. It allows your nervous system to settle. It allows your brain to settle. It allows you to rationalize things. It allows you to be like, oh, okay, I get it. This is part of the process, right? And of course, there's situations where you're in it for as long as you're in it, right? And I've been in one of those, but it's about trying to focus on the light at the end of that tunnel and understanding the process that's going on in your brain and your body throughout that. Yeah, what's going on? What chemicals are going around my body right now? Why might I feel this way? What do I know works with my nervous system? Oh, okay, I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling anxious. I know that if I can use my breath in this moment right now, I can calm my nervous system. I can calm my brain, and then I can start waking up the right areas of my brain, and I can make a decision. I can consciously rationalize what's going on. It's those things. Pure gold. And again, keep reminding yourself of what you're moving towards. Keep reminding yourself of what is at the end of that tunnel. Because when you find yourself too much in your head, this is a big one. Get into your body. Go for a walk. Move in any way that feels good to you. Breathe deep belly breaths. Meditate. This helps really hugely with the last point as well, about understanding what's going on in your brain and body. And don't forget that the mind influences the body, but the body also influences the mind. And I find it one of the quickest ways out of my head and back to regulation. And it's training you out of overthinking the more that you do this too. Game changer. But let's be honest, where has trying to control everything got you so far? Where has all that pushing got you so far? Where has all that fighting got you so far? Where can you honestly say that that approach has been the best and the way that you would suffer the least? How would it feel if you could let go of the reins a little bit, ease off the mental load, protect and prioritize your peace? You're not supposed to know all the answers, and no one ever will. So if anyone comes to you saying, I've got all the answers that you need, they're lying. They don't. I don't. And I've studied this stuff for best part of a decade. You know, you're a human first and foremost, right? The art of surrender is not about not taking action. Far from it. It's about taking action with deep trust that it's all going to work out how it's supposed to. So have a little think about how and where you could practice this during the rest of the week, even in little ways, and see how it goes.
So if you got value from this and you know in your gut that now is the time to step up and start rewiring your thinking and start changing things for yourself, then join the Positive Pants Toolkit app and community so you can work out what needs to happen to get you from where you're at right now to the action-taking success you know you can be. And if you want my eyes and ears on your problems, then I work with people one-on-one and through my programs. You can find all the details to join the toolkit or book in a call in the show notes, the link in my bio on Instagram, and on my website, franexcel.com. So stop waiting for if and when and choose to change things now, because you can. I'm here to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And as always, I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you next week. Bye!